Today we'll be stepping it up a notch and talking about a feature available on most new and all past professional grade digital SLRs, the spot meter. Most cameras use some variation of an evaluative meter which looks at the overall scene and breaks it up into a grid. In the case of the 5D, there are 35 resulting zones. It calculates an exposure for each zone, averages the results, and determines the appropriate aperture and/or shutter speed. The spot meter does the same evaluation on a much smaller area, typically between 1 and 5% of the composition, 3.5% for the 5D. Pretty nifty, but often imprecise, as we shall see. So the first thing we're going to do is set my camera from the evaluative mode to spot meter mode. Today, we'll be shooting one of my favorite models, Zoe. She's more animated than the Hippo, which presents a couple of challenges. The overhead clouds and her movements in and out of the shade are changing the exposure too quickly for me to compensate manually. So I compose a shot, use my spot meter, the area shown in the circle, to calculate the exposure. Unfortunately, the camera expects that the area in the spot meter is 18% gray, basically a perfectly neutral brightness, and I gave it something much brighter, so the resulting image is underexposed. Anyone here know what 18% gray looks like? In theory, you could shoot against a gray card, but I'm pretty sure Zoe would have pooped and gone home before I set that up. Instead, I spot meter off a known value like Zoe's white sweater. Pure white requires an increase in exposure compensation by 2 stops. Reduce it by 2 for black. Good thing we learned how to do that last week. Since the spot meter works only in the center of the viewfinder, I need to point at the white sweater, click on the exposure lock, and then recompose a shot and get something like this. If I put the results side by side, you can see that second photograph result is technically more correct and pleasing. Honestly, it might still be off by a quarter stop, but well within reason and easily corrected in post-processing. For additional precision, you'll need to wait till next week's blog. See ya then.